We are now recording, and I just lost the meeting notes. 1 second. All right, so I'm just going to go through really quickly. Since we have a small group today, screen 2.
Right.
All right, you see my screen? Cool. So yeah, like last week we had talked about that we were planning on doing a bunch of improvements related to optimizing the storage. There was a design doc that was down here with some proposals. Basically, one of the things that I linked to in the meeting notes here is the results of those of that project. Basically, there was, the main thing that we were trying to do is make queries return faster and or at least return at all and not time out. And so basically we got a lot of improvement there. So here, obviously we're using traces in this case just because we're timing actual queries, but things that used to take 3.6 seconds, now we're returning more data in a fraction of the time. You can I guess kind of read through this on your own if you'd like, or anyone who's catching this recording, look at the meeting notes and you can look through this. And so basically I don't know, Christian, you want to talk any to the
Yes, like basically like the design document kind of lined out why we wanted to make that change. Before we were using the Parquet format to store stack traces, and if you think about stack traces, they are really kind of a tree data, and so we were storing things over and over again, and also like to kind of stay in the Parquet format, we would have had to like do a lot of more referencing. So I think that was one change we addressed. And the other one was like adding the partitioning. So most of the stack traces are obviously very application specific. And so if we know the application, we will use that to kind of like partition that stack trace table, which in turn kind of makes us fetch less data and still have a kind of full stack trace representation. That leads to those kind of numbers that are in the design document.
Yeah. Some other side things that we benefited from, less memory consumption. So basically it was a pretty successful project, and there's some future work that we have here that we've already even started to do some of these. And so basically we're just continuing to make a lot of really good improvements on the storage that that we're pretty excited about. So any questions on that? Going once, going twice. Okay. There's also
a bit in the same area. So we currently, obviously, before we write this things into storage, we hold them in memory, and our memory representations that were not ideal, meaning that kind of the objects were fairly big, and we had slices of that object, and that has been modified in to use Go-based types and use slices there directly, and also we no longer use the generated types, which have a couple of extra ballast. So I don't really have a good number here, how much we reduced our memory usage, but like I would think it was like in the kind of 30 to 40%. With both of those changes. Like the 814 is I think not fully made it into our staging environment. I think we will figure out tomorrow what that looks like there. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm also working in the way we query from storage, so that is yet to yield kind of significant improvements, but basically right now we kind of over reading from object store and also kind of read too many small parts, and we want to kind of group them together. And in theory, we have the information to do that in a bigger way, and then avoiding kind of going object store latency. And yeah, so I think that's mostly like in terms of like performance optimization improvements. Like we are also working on, maybe you're aware of that, we have the two repositories, like the Grafana Pyroscope and the Grafana/Flare repos, and there's basically a lot of confusion with that setup, and going forward we want to use Pyroscope repository only, and obviously Pyroscope name only, and basically like from tomorrow we should see kind of a branch moving over the code, and then we kind of need to sort out right now the code base from Flare imports the original Pyroscope repo, and bit by bit we want to kind of sort that out and get us closer to have like the first kind of Grafana Pyroscope release, and yeah, just like have one basically like well-known repository where everything should go.
And the plan, well, we'll say August. We'll say early to mid-August. But yeah, so the plan is, to have future development happen there, and then releasing that as Pyroscope 1.0 in early to mid-August. So yeah, that's the plan there. On the server side, on the agent side, something that we've also made a lot of internal progress on, that we're working on the documentation and getting it out so that other people can try this out, is basically we made a lot of improvements with our eBPF integration, which we are using via the Grafana agent. And so the reason we did that is, I guess maybe not obviously, but internally we use the Grafana agent everywhere. And basically by adding the eBPF integration to the Grafana agent, it allowed us to basically just deploy or roll out eBPF profiling across all of the places that use the Grafana agent. And that is, a lot. We wanted to make sure that before we did that it was, still really low overhead and not cause any, unforeseen problems. And basically, I mean, I would say that went off without any issues. And a lot of the teams have started using it now. Oh yeah, thanks for adding the link in there. Here's the link to the, to add it here. We still, need to add some documentation, but basically there's, a lot of, a lot of progress that we made there. Kyle, you mentioned that you had some questions about eBPF in general. Anything in particular, or you're just curious what we're doing there?
Yeah, I was curious about the integration status, and now that you just mentioned, in the GitHub issue, the page that you just shared, there's a mention to Cilium. I'm curious about that. And when you say it's going to be released in the next, with the next release, you mean of Pyroscope 1.0 or the next agent release?
I mean the next agent release in that case. Pyroscope and for now Flare both will support profiles from the Grafana agent using ETF. Sorry, what was your other question?
The reference to Cilium in that page, unless I saw it wrong.
Yes. Oh yeah. I don't know all of the details there. I can have Anatoly put that in the public channel and explain what the rationale there was. But
so like I can help with that. So basically like the old integration, or like the old library to load the eBPF code was kind of a C code, and would require us to kind of compile Grafana agent with like CGO, and basically that caused issues before. Like we have quite a lot of different architectures to support, and so my understanding is this way we kind of replaced it with Cilium, and in the same way there's also libvcc, which I think we used to find the symbols to the profiles we collect, and that has been kind of rewritten in native Go as well, to like in an effort obviously to make the maintenance overhead like for the agent more minimal. And yeah, I've not done any work so on this, but like yeah, that's the background as far as I understand it. And
yeah,
like
I'm curious what your experience or interest in eBPF is. Like, are you using Cilium, or are you using eBPF for anything at your company?
Yeah, we are a heavy user of Cilium right now, and we basically rely on it to correlate low-level metrics everywhere. And one of the reasons for us to look at Pyroscope is to have a even bigger correlation, right? So we can basically find bottlenecks and performance possibilities to improve both CPU-wise and network-wise, if that makes sense. So that's why I have interest in both Cilium and eBPF integration and how it works with Pyroscope, which leads me to my other questions, if it's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
We are a paying customer of Grafana Enterprise, right? And it's still a bit unclear to me what's going to be the difference between the current open source setup that people can have. That's the one I have right now, and Grafana Cloud with the profiles and the Pyroscope plugin or application integration, and the enterprise support that people will have. Because right now I'm trying to get rid of the UI as a separate entity. I don't mind the UI. The UI is actually fantastic, but as a separate component, and try to have it within Grafana. And as far as I understood it, if I got it right, it's part of the cloud offering. Is it going to be the same with the enterprise version once 1.0 is out, or it's going to be exclusive for cloud?
Yeah, so good question. We actually just started having conversations about this today. As of right now, we've only added it to the cloud. And I would say that there's not a, I wouldn't say that it's exclusive to the cloud, because we more just put it there because that's the easiest place that we can control it, because, we have control over the cloud, and we can, especially as we're in this public preview period, that's just like where we can make changes and make sure that, make iterations more easily than either, the standalone UI or someone who's like running it enterprise on-prem or something like that. So I guess like that's the current status of it right now. We have started to get more feedback more recently that people that wanted to do that, that have, Grafana Enterprise users are interested in this plugin as well, or maybe they, are Grafana Cloud users but run, their Grafana instance on-prem or something like that. And so we are trying to figure out a solution for that as well. As far as the on the open source side, the reason we probably will not bring the app plugin into the open source side, because one, the standalone UI already exists there, and two, the direction that we're planning on going with this app plugin is basically to make it so that you're able to, like link to other metrics or metrics, logs, traces, and integrate more with like other parts of the Grafana platform that it's just too, at least at this stage, too hard to figure out how to do that in the open source side, as opposed to in the, enterprise or cloud side, where we can, sort of know what like data sources are connected and stuff like that a little bit easier. So, yeah, not the best answer, but as of right now, for Grafana 1.0, it will most likely be just for the cloud, but we are trying to find a solution for enterprise as well.
No, that's actually a good answer. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I totally understand the difference between the open source offering and the cloud and the enterprise one. You guys got to make some money, right? Correctly. I'm as well, selfishly, I'm interested in the enterprise side of it because, I mean, we pay a lot for it, but
Right.
also because it's a big requirement, I suppose for others as well, SSO support, right? Otherwise, people can even abuse the UI, fetching a lot of profiling data, for instance. That'll be basically the reason. And because we cannot go fully on the cloud with our data, that's why. But the answer was actually good. Thanks for that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good feedback. I guess that's the benefit of you being here and us having you here is that like we can definitely take this back, and as we have these conversations over the next month, like figure out how we can support that as well. So appreciate you coming.
Yeah, also maybe probably a question of priorities, I guess. We try to do probably quite a lot in the immediate future, but like if that's really important for many, then we definitely can kind of
add it into the roadmap.
Yeah. So I also added the docs for the actual eBPF integration. So there are some, and they probably work with the kind of main build of the Grafana agent. So yeah, definitely feel free to give us some feedback on the Slack channels.
Yeah, so if you want to dig in and let us know feedback, but yeah, we do definitely plan to make some improvements to those docs too. So happy to help, and even if you wanted to set up some time, we'd be happy to walk through stuff with you or figure out how it would work in your specific setup. Do you use Grafana agent already?
No, that's on our roadmap right now. To migrate, move away from the current eBPF code to the agent once it's out there, which I believe now it's in the next release. So that's going to be it.
Great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like I said, we, obviously are making a bunch of changes here and are looking, it's newer, but we love your feedback and to hear how it goes for you and how we can make it better. So let us know as you get a chance to try it out. Cool. All right. Well, that is, I believe, everything for today. Thanks, Kyle, for coming. And if there's nothing else, then we can wrap it up here. And good luck with the eBPF profiling and other I guess eBPF stuff in general.
Cheers, folks. Bye.
All right, peace. All right, see you, Christian.